Welcome back. We're super spoilt and privileged today, directly from the motorhome in the bivouac in Saudi Riyadh is team principal of Toyota Gazoo Racing, Glyn Hall. Glyn, thank you so much for taking time out of what actually is a busy non-racing day. You leading, you've got 4 Toyotas in the top 10, you've got Janil's 5 hours back. It must be a relief in your heart today.
Yeah, it absolutely is, Colin. I'd just like to correct you for one thing. We've got 4 Toyotas in the top 5, actually. So we have Yazid second, Sebastian Loeb third, and Janil fourth. Just less than a minute behind, and Loeb and 2 minutes back from second place. So yeah, incredible. We're really, really happy, and it's been an extremely stressful 3 days.
Glyn, the positions from second down are very tight. The NASA's approach from day one of go and have a massive attack, get some time in the bank, has proven to be, with luck, proven to be absolutely the right strategy, and now he can almost control the race for the second part of the week.
So, Colin, I think he's not world's number 1 for no reason. Yeah. He knows how to do this race. And as soon as he felt that we had a good car, he was able to, shall we say, put a strategy plan together, and it's come off perfectly. And perhaps had a little bit of luck when you need luck, although we don't depend on it, because in the big stage 1 mess with the navigation, they arrived at exactly the right time, saw the chaos on the right, and basically NASA said, well, so many people on the right, let's have a look on the left. And they found it straight away. And of course, Loeb was on his bumper at the time, glued there almost.
And that's probably been the surprise of, the hunters have been somewhat of a surprise in their reliability is not what you guys have got. I mean, you've had fantastic reliability.
Yeah, the hunters we expected them to be this fast, and we thought that Loeb would be our biggest competition until we discovered the potential of the Audi, of course. But we considered Loeb to be our competition. You don't win 9 World Rally titles if you can't drive, that's for sure. And ProDrive are a very competent team, top level. So we knew that they were going to be strong, and unfortunately Nenny got lost terribly, and that took the edge off it a little bit, and Loeb was right place, right time. And they hung together. They did made it easier for us. They had some prop shafts bolts break on one stage, so we're trying to avoid that on our side. And yeah, the cars had great reliability. Of course, Henk frightened us to death when he lost the rear wheel. On a stage he should have won. Incredible pace straight away, and he was under strict orders from me. That from Toyota's side we are want Henk to get the mileage. So if I told him to go even slower, gosh, he might have won it by further. But the rear hub broke, which frightened us. We found the problem. We've taken that bad or suspect batch of parts off the cars, and hopefully now we shouldn't have any more grief. But I'm always worrying, that's who I am. I'm driving every kilometre with the guys, but the cars have been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really brilliant.
When we spoke before you left, you were mentioning the drivetrain might be an issue, but you've had no problems with that, so the design ultimately was correct, and your concerns came to naught?
Well, actually, it wasn't a really heavy concern. We'd done 5,600 Ks on the same suspension parts, the same transmission parts, so I was quietly confident. But there's things that we might not have known. These stages have had a lot of camel grass. So Henk's rear hub, Henk came and said, during the testing we weren't having as much high-speed sideways load, and in 5th and 6th gear he's flying in the air and landing on the one rear wheel against these camel grass sandbanks, which are literally like ant hills, and he said the loads are really high. And I said, well, can you miss them? He said, at 150 k's an hour, you're lucky to miss anything, you know. And he, fair play to him. There's not a mark on the car, other than this. And Nasser's car has not a scratch except for a rock he dug up in the shakedown. So the guys have been really careful and keeping out of the way while going flat out.
We spoke to Henk, and one of the things that he was saying is it's almost, he knows he's got to get the car to the finish, but for his point of view, judging how fast he's going, he says he's still learning what the real pace is. And the stage that he won, he didn't think that they were that fast, but the guy's got some incredible speed.
No question. Henk has got great speed and incredible speed. And yes, this is a secret of this type of discipline, this discipline of motorsport racing, is knowing how fast to go. We had Chris Meek driving the car when we thought that Janelle was not perhaps going to make it because of the COVID. And he was astonished at the car. He could hardly control himself. With excitement and the potential. And indeed, Hein went in the car with Henk and he came out and he was shattered. He had no idea of the speed. And actually, I could see on, Hein, Henk's father, the concern on his face now that his young son was flying through the dunes blind at this speed beyond comprehension. And Hein was really shaken. I mean, Hein's been around. He was a factory cross-country driver for Toyota. So he knows the speed, and he said this is a level that he thought was impossible. And these guys are doing it every day, Colin. Every day, all day long.
It's phenomenal, the development of the machine. And now with the bigger tires and the suspension travel, some of the pictures that I've been seeing, the way the cars are riding, it is truly a marvel to see what you guys have developed and the capabilities that they've got. You've got to somehow have that little bit of, hell, that's a nice car feeling inside.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. And this morning, I didn't go to the hotel last night. We stayed here in the camper, and Janelle stayed in the camper, which is, I think, the relief of this penalty. The stress that this man was under is beyond capacity. The really negative social media, and I must take this opportunity to tell all your listeners that this is absolutely, it's terrible. It is, I can't think of the right adjective because I'm so angry, but it's irresponsible of these people to assume the situation and put hate mail like you're a bike killer and things. This hurts. Janelle's a nice guy, the gentleman, the bivouac. Thank goodness we found the detail that was wrong to have this penalty removed. And indeed, the first penalty he got is not justified. The biker was uninjured. All he wanted to do is get Janelle out of the way so he could get up and go. They shook hands, there was no problem. So all of this negative social media is totally irresponsible. Anyway,
Glyn,
coming back to your question.
I share your anger and frustration at the idiots who immediately jump and have a go and assume that they know the story when you don't have the facts. And last night we made a point, and I'll say it again, to all those people who said anything negative about and the guilt about Janelle. You owe him an apology. Go and do it. Find the place and write your apology. You know who you are. Right, back to the point of this magnificent machine.
Spot on, Colin. Janelle deserves apologies from every single person in the world who posted against him. The rider, the guy that was in the picture, in the video, has zero problem. Voldo went with Janelle. He said, I'm sorry you've got all of this problem. All I wanted to do was get you out of the way. The situation was in a terrible place. It was so steep. I fell off the bike. You came and I just wanted you out the way. Anyway, back to the car. Which is, we can be a little bit more positive on.
Yes.
But Janelle and I were discussing it this morning, and it's easily possible to go the same speed as with the small wheels as this, like sedan in the Mini as proved, running right at the front of the field with last year's rules. Remembering we've got to carry an extra 150 kilograms for 500 Ks as a penalty against the bigger wheel. The big decision, Janelle said, is it's not battering you around. It's actually enjoyable to drive, and you're not living in fear waiting for this puncture to happen. We're still getting them. We've had, on average, 1.1 punctures per car per day. And the target was one puncture every 2 days. That was the original target. So, the cars are a lot heavier than the buggies, so we would expect more punctures. But the
one
key
is
element
manageable.
is, yes, one is manageable, no problem at all. And but the pleasure to drive the car, not living in fear, and the wheel gives the car better comfort inside. And this is going to grow the sport. This is brilliant for the sport, and looking for this, we should have pursued from our side the buggy more seriously a few years ago. I think I told you about it. If we'd been certain we would have had the same tyre that we've got now at that time, which Peugeot were using, we would have pursued the two-wheel drive much more. And knowing what we know now, we would have had a very quick motor car. I promise you, because now we're understanding the dampers on the bigger tyre and a lot of other details.
But hindsight is the absolute science. Glyn, I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, the psychology of the drivers and the racing. There's two things. They're having a non-racing day today, but they are busy, lots of commitments. To get them back up and change their minds for tomorrow when it's go racing again, that's a big part of your job, is managing drivers' minds and psyches.
Well, honestly, Colin, drivers at this level, I mean, this is just to remind everybody again, this is the biggest single motorsport, toughest event in the world. There's no question. 14 days, so that's not even an issue. So the drivers will get back there, but funnily enough, Gregoire de Mavius asked me to look after his son Guillaume, who came to the pits this morning. We got who's driving the OT3 in the Red Bull Junior team, the T3 category. So I said, "How's it going, Guillaume?" He said, "No, I rolled, I'm out." I said, "Your dad's going to kill me, because it was part of my job to come and, discuss with you the strategy." And I explained to him what I explained to Henk last year, and of course years ago, Janelle to not so much, but obviously Leroy. You need some kilometers at this level to understand how fast to go, and binning it, damaging the roll cage so you can't carry on, is a mess for him, So I gave him a good telling off this morning, but I should have met him already yesterday or the day before. But I was consumed. Reversing this penalty for Janelle took an incredible amount of energy, and discovering what went wrong in the information supplied to the stewards and the data logger, which was a human error. Luckily, we didn't get a time penalty, just a huge financial penalty, because we'd already asked the day before that all FIA devices must have permanent power. So it's flattening the battery every night, and it's been unplugged. And we'd put an inquiry in the night before to the FIA to ask them if, please, could we, how much power should it draw, and can we do it? And only after we discovered this, they came to us literally half an hour later to say, no, you can put it after the ignition switch. So if we'd had the information the day before, there would have been no pressure. And we gave them all of the data from our Motec system, and which they didn't take that day, but they took the next day. But there was nothing untoward. Loeb, Court, Nasser that day overtook him. So performance was not even a consideration that we'd been deviating from the rules. Not at all.
And again, the comments come out, a whole lot of comments are made without people understanding the full facts. And patience is needed both in the race and as a spectator and a follower and a fan of the race, to wait for the facts before you open your mouth. It's Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
want to.
Colin, just to explain to the listeners slightly, when this logger is disconnected, the performance, the restrictor, is still in place.
Yeah.
You know, the restriction on performance is still in place. We have to control that, and the data logger monitors what we are doing. So the fact that it was unplugged means our system has to be in place. You know, it can't not be in place. It's part of the architecture of the car.
Yeah.
So while we had the penalty for unplugging it, it wasn't exclusion because everything was still intact in the car. It's not like we were consciously, as I say, cheating or deviating from the rules.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was a human error, and as soon as we found out it had happened, I called the FIA immediately to the chief technical officer and said, "We've got this problem. Please come here and so we can explain what happened." So we were not hiding anything or damaging anything or anything of this sort. It was completely transparent and resolved immediately.
So have you made the changes on all the cars to have them powered up with ignition on?
Within 1 hour of the directive of the FIA allowing us to do it. Within
Okay,
1 hour, all four cars. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. And just talking about all four cars, your fourth car, Shamir Variawa, had probably the drive of his life yesterday. And we've seen he's had speed at Porsche, but he hasn't managed to put a whole stage together. And yesterday, coming in, I think it was seventh, it was a phenomenal drive for him to lump together all the different sections of that stage.
Well, my approach to Shamir was slightly different to yours, Colin. I immediately said, "Well done on the 7th, but we expected you to be 5th. You were running 5th all day. What went wrong? Tell me what went wrong." You know, they missed the waypoint. They missed the waypoint 2 kilometers from the end and had to go back.
It sometimes can be
It was
a
an
little bit
accident.
frustrating.
It is. I think they were so excited to have a clean stage. Darnie didn't see they hadn't registered the waypoint on the GPS, and they were approaching the finish and wait. Whoa, Shamir, hang on, we haven't got it. It's not verified. The last point. I had to turn around and go back. I think 1.5 kilometers. So great day, but it could have been better.
Now, fourth position is Janil, 1.5 minutes about behind Sebi. With the load off of this week, you go into this new week, and for sure he's chasing another podium. Do you have that as part of your strategy, and let Hank fly free and do his thing, and the other guys look after NASA while also pushing for podium? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Janil's got the bit between his teeth now, and if he doesn't finish second, I will be surprised, provided, you know, Dennis finds the way and we keep the nuts and bolts tight, as it were. He can do it. He's got the speed, and if it's there for the taking, he'll take on Seb one-on-one, 9-time world champion, and let's see how it plays out. And maybe we can get some fun this week with that. And of course, Yazid is right in there. He's equally as capable of finishing second. So the three of them will be slogging it out till the end. And let's hope we have clean navigation. And from my side, let's hope we don't have any technical problem and it's down to a puncture or pure speed, I hope.
Yeah.
Who's prepared to on the edge for the longest? And that's what racing's all about. We're here to race.
Yeah, and it's been, now that we've got the cloud out the way, it's been a brilliant race and really looking forward to it. Glyn, I know your time is very precious, and I value it so much. Thank you very much for joining us. Please go and send our best wishes to everybody, and a very special request, Glyn, go and give Janil a hug and tell him we are behind him, and just do that for me, please. Thank you, Glyn, for joining us.
Yeah. And may Hank win some more stages this week. That would be great.
Set him free.
27 years old.
Yeah.
We can't set him free yet. No. He's still under control, believe me. We're not allowing him to go free, but it looks like he could be one of the youngest ever stage winners in history. They're trying to find the detail, but it's very possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Glyn. Go well, go fast, go safe. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Wow, there's a lot of dust here. I've got goosebumps. What an interview. I'm going to leave it there. Join us a little bit later. We'll have more from the bivouac in Saudi Arabia on this, a non-racing day. Be safe, be lekker. Join us again later. Cheers.